welcome to video number 12 in the series, and we're gonna explore projectile attacks for the boss. So he's gonna be able to shoot a fireball, and we're also gonna give him a mode when he's low on health. He could use an ultimate attack, and I'll add a few more things as we go on. So to get started, in character folder, you need to import or have a sphere or something. So here I just made a little fireball in Maya. You don't really need it to look like a fireball, it could just be a sphere, and I gave it a yellow material. So what I'm gonna do is in the boss folder, I'll make a new one and I'll call it spell. Then going to character, I'm gonna create a blueprint using this static mesh. I'm gonna put that in spell. So fireball underscore BP, and I'm gonna add an arrow, and I'll attach it on top of the static mesh. So now I'm gonna scale this up. I guess this size is good. I'll add a recording. So I'll add a rotating movement. I'm gonna set the roll to 180 and the rest to 0. I'm gonna add projectile movement. Put it to 1500 and 2000. Then I want to get a sphere collision, and I'm going to set the radius to, let's see, 64, 72. I guess 72 is good. I'm going to go down and change its collision to custom, set it to no collision, put everything on ignore except for pawn, vehicle, destructible. Vehicle indestructible is because we might change the collision, the object type of something on our player, like the shield, let's say. So on component begin overlap, click the green plus. Now here what you want is get class, type equal twice, and type in warrior blueprint. So our warrior underscore BP. Put a branch, connect these together. Then get player character. Here you want to cast to warrior BP. This will be used for damage. I'm not even sure. I mean, it could be an effect, maybe a burning effect on the character, but I'm gonna leave it here for now, and I'll modify it later. Then what I want to do is here in the starter content and particles. So I took my fist sprite particle, I duplicated it, and called it fireball hit, p underscore fireball hit, and I changed the initial color here to yellow. So what I'm gonna do is in fireball blueprint, once it hits the player, I'm gonna spawn emitter at location. I'm gonna select the fireball hit. I'm gonna get my sphere. I'm gonna get world location and put that into the location of the emitter. Then drag a pin out and type in destroy. Get destroy actor. In between you want a delay, and you could set it to, I don't know, 0.05. Another thing you want is drag the sphere, set collision enabled, set it to collision enabled, connect these two together and put a delay in between. Then you want to copy paste that delay, and you want to get that destroy actor. Put these together, and let's say after 10 seconds, after 10 seconds here, the fireball destroys itself. Next step is we're gonna go to our boss folder in his animation blueprint. In the animation tab, we're gonna get the Hadouken, and we'll make a new notify, call it fireball. And I want it to spawn approximately right here. Go to the graph and type in fireball, get the notify. I'm gonna close this and go into my boss blueprint. Now I'm gonna make a custom event that's gonna spawn that. So custom event, fireball. I wanna spawn actor from class. I'm gonna get his right fist, and let me just check down here. I don't need anything from there. Okay. Oh, look, face player. I'm gonna get player character and get actor location. And I'm also gonna copy this look at rotation so I don't have to type it all in. And here I'm just gonna stack these and spawn transform. You wanna make transform. And our right fist, you gotta get world location. And in the look at, you could put this in here. Put the rotation, connect the return value to rotation and the location to the return value of the right fist. And here in class, select fireball. Fireball underscore BP. So this whole thing is spawning our fireball and it's gonna face our player when it's spawned. So I can close this and go through the animation blueprint and call the event I just made for my character. And I'm gonna comment this. So let's go into the boss blueprint and go to player distance. And here you should probably have this, but in the other video, while I was going on doing modifications between videos, what I did is I connected everything here to long range. And in the character event graph, I connected. This is the long range attacks. I connected all of these to the Hadoken. And player distance function, I set the time to 1 second, so he attacks me sooner. Before I set it to 3 seconds. So I'm gonna test this out. I'm gonna let the boss hit me. The fireball is falling down on the floor, but look, when I hit it, it explodes. And the reason why it's falling is if you go into spell, fireball, BP, projectile movement, set the gravity to 0. There. So now it's hitting the player. So in the next segment, we're gonna make a low health mode for the boss. To make the low health segment so the boss, let's say when he's low on health, he accesses different attacks. We'll open up the boss blueprint, and from the previous segment, I'm just gonna comment this fireball attack. And I'm gonna move it to the side here. Now, let's say in close range, from 5 to 8, I want him to access these only when he's low on health. So I'm gonna remove these pins. And I'll move this back. I'll make a branch. I'm gonna get health, and I'll say I'll put a condition that if health is less than or equal to 500, connect the branch here. So if it's not true, it's gonna go into this branch, and if it's true, I'm just gonna move all of these up. Copy and paste that. So I connected the nodes to a new switch on integer. And don't forget that when you remove some X number of pins, also to change this. So this max value is 4. And this one here is 3. Now, what if, let's say he's on the verge of death and he needs to use his ultimate attack? Before I continue, I'm just gonna disconnect all these and plug them back to the way they were. So, if I recall well, I had a hurricane kick, a really funny looking animation, and I want to use that. I'm just gonna fix my wires up again. So here in player distance, what it's gonna do is, before it even checks for player distance, it's gonna check for his health. And I'm gonna connect it. I'm gonna connect false to this. I'm gonna get health, and I'm gonna check if health is less than or equal to, let's say 300 or 250. If it is true, then I'll make a new event. Just gonna go here in long range and copy paste. And I'm gonna call this ultimate. Another thing I need is this animontage and this delay. Yeah, I need all that. I can actually move these down here because we're gonna connect it to the rest of the chain. When it's completed, it's gonna set attacking to false down there. I'm gonna comment this, and I'm gonna call it ultimate attack. Now, just as we had minimum damage and maximum damage, we can apply that too. So this could be a really like devastating attack. So he's gonna do high damage and he's gonna launch pretty close to you. So when it's set to attacking, we'll take minimum and maximum damage, and then also get launch force, and just for fun, also jump force. And I'm gonna connect that in there. So launch force, let's put it to, I don't know, 1000, and we'll experiment with that. And jump force, let's put it to 300. When the delay is completed, I'm gonna set jump force back to 1. So I'm gonna test this out, and let's see what happens. Oh, right. First, we need to set his health. We actually need to call the event. So here it goes into ultimate, and the condition is if his health is, oops, connected to the wrong place. Sorry guys. Here, so if it's less than 250. So if his health is less than 250, so we'll put it to 100. He's gonna perform those attacks. This ultimate one. And also don't forget, in the animontage you want to select the proper one. And I don't know where I put it. Did I call it Hurricane Kick or did I call it Ultimate? Yeah, I called it Ultimate. Oh, there he is. He's going crazy. So he's just gonna, if I don't dodge or something, he's gonna wreck me. If this thing does a lot of damage. Here I could even slow down the speed. I could put it to, I don't know, 0.5. And here in max damage, min damage, could be, let's say 30 and 50. I don't know. Just from the top of my head. So let's see what he's gonna do now. It's a hurricane death. But don't forget that we had those capsules on his hand, and they're gonna be doing the damage in this. You would have to put traces, you would have to put capsules on his feet if you want to use this guy. But for your own animations, make it something cooler than this. So that's it for this segment. I'm just gonna revert some things here. I'm gonna set his health back to 1000. And here everything is fine. No need to modify anything. Okay. Yep, so I'm gonna see you guys in the next segment. Okay, so far I've showed you how to make a projectile attack that can get launched and affect the player. And I also showed how to make a different mode for the character. So this is low HP mode for the boss that we did. But you could have anything. It can be a berserker mode where you can boost up his damage or something like that. And the last thing I'm going to show is how to cast a player debuff. So we're going to slow the character down for X amount of time. So here in my animontage I had made 3 different debuffs based on the animations. So I think this one would kind of be cool for a buff instead of a debuff. He could boost his armor or something. That, I don't really know what that is, but the screaming thing, maybe it could be like an earthquake and it slows the player down. But anyways, let's use this scream. So going to boss here for blue boss. Let me just go and check again what animation it was. I think it was Debuff, where he just screams. Yeah, so we're gonna use this, and we're gonna make a custom event. I'll put it right here. This empty quadrant, we're gonna use all the damage input output for. So when he takes damage, what happens to him? And does he flinch? Does he die? Here, let's make a custom event and call it debuff 2 speed. Sorry, 2 I'm such a noob. So what you want to do here is you want another get player character. I think I have it up here somewhere with where I wrote fireball. So I'm gonna get player character. Here, I guess inputs. I can type in class. Can I? Blueprint. Oh no, sorry. Object. Which one was it? This. And we'll call it other actor. Let's compile that to get rid of the error. Get class. Put it equal. So here we're gonna type in warrior. Basically, you would have to do this for each character class that you would have. So if you have mage and I don't know, whatever you want to add. So if that's true, you're gonna cast to warrior BP. Then I'm gonna go into my warrior. Here, warrior BP. And let's add a debuff here. So custom event. And I'm gonna call this debuff speed. I know I'm gonna need 3 branches for this because he has a greatsword mode, he has shield mode, and he's also in transitioning mode. Oh, and also he has a sword and shield mode where he's not blocking. So first thing I'm gonna do is get greatsword mode, and if it's true, let's go find out the greatsword speed. It's 250. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna copy character movement and set max walk speed. And also a retriggerable delay. I'll get all 3 of those. Paste them here. So get a max walk speed and set it up after the delay. You want to connect target to character movement. So what happens is the moment he gets debuffed, his speed, let's say, will drop to 100. For how long? I don't know. Let's put 12 seconds. So you can run up and catch up to the character. So this goes here into true. So this is greatsword speed debuff. It'd be a good idea if I was to comment these, so I'm gonna do that now. Greatsword speed debuff. Then, so he's not in greatsword mode. Is he blocking? That's good blocking. If he is blocking, let's find out his blocking speed, which was right here in blocking on. It's 150, so he's super slow. So I'm gonna copy and paste all this, put it to true, and connect target to character movement. And his walk speed was 150. So here I'll put it to, I don't know, 50. He's barely gonna be able to move. And you can also change the delay here. If you want it to be between a certain range, you drag and type random float in range, and then you can set it to, I don't know, between 10 to 12 seconds. So it makes it a bit more dynamic. I'll bring this down here. It's gonna be a really big mess here. Then if he's not blocking, we check if he's switching. Generally, when he's switching, you don't want to change his speed. But let's pretend that he is not switching. So here, false. Which would basically imply that he's either in Greatsword mode or he's in Sword and Shield mode. But if he's in Greatsword mode, we already put a true here, so it's gonna go into this chain of command. But if he's not in Greatsword mode, then he's gonna be in Sword and Shield mode. So basically, like when you enter the level, that condition you're in, I'm gonna connect this to the duration. Connect the two targets to character movement. And I remember he runs at 600. So we can slow him down to, let's say, Greatsword speed, to 50. You can connect the speed debuff to the branch. And we're going to comment this and call it blocking speed debuff. And then the one below it, here, I'm going to comment and call it sword shield mode speed debuff. Yeah, it's a big mess here, the wires. But it does the trick, and since you know what's happening in here, you can read through it. And now we're going to test this out and call it. So I'm going to close this and go into my boss folder. Here in debuff speed, in my warrior blueprint, I'm going to type in debuff, and I get debuff speed, the first one. Now this thing has to be called right where the attack is. So it was this one. I'm going to type in debuff, and I can select speed. Compile that. And it seems to be having a problem down here. Let's go to warrior. Compile here. And then blue boss. Everything is good. The next thing I want to do is, just for testing out, I'm going to connect all these wires into that one animation. I'm going to go into player distance, and here, seek player in long range, I'll put everything into long range. So when I'm far from him, he should just let out a scream and I should slow down. Oh wait, forgot to change his health. So let's go to event graph, initialize boss, and set that health to 1000 so he doesn't do that crazy hurricane attack, because you want him to scream instead. He's crazy. I think I know what's happening. Less than or equal to. Here in player distance, I forgot to change this. There he's screaming. And I still seem to be running the same speed. Okay, so I realized what the issue was. Before we had, here we had object. And object was connected to, it was like this. What you need is to disconnect that. You can delete it actually. So it's just an event. And you connect get class into get player character. Like so. So I'm just gonna let you look at this. You can pause the video. Now, I did the same thing here. I just called the event right after and plugged it in. So in my warrior blueprint, what I'll do is I'll print string and I'll call it you are slow. I'm also going to reduce the time just to see how the speed gets affected. I'm going to play this. There, it says you were slow. Now I'm running normal again, and he's gonna roar it there. I'm slow again. So it's debuffing my speed. So to finish off this video, I'm gonna make one more type of attack, and this one's gonna debuff the player. It's not an area of effect attack. I'm gonna cover that later. So to start, let's go into starter content, particle, take P fire, and duplicate it. Call this underscore P underscore pre fire, and I'm gonna duplicate that and call it P underscore user fire. I'm gonna go into user fire and delete everything except for the first flames here. Going into pre-fire, delete both flames. You can delete smoke and distortion. So what this attack is gonna be is there's gonna be these sparks that appear, the pre-fire, on the player, and if he doesn't get out of the way in 1 second, it bursts into this. And if you touch it, you get burned, and there's gonna be fire that's gonna be attached to you. So let's go to the blue boss animation blueprint and get this animation, whatever you called it. I called it debuff too. So I'm gonna add a new notify, call it flames, and I want it to appear right there. Then I'm gonna go into his graph and type in flames. I'll let this be for now. In blue boss, I'll make a custom event, call it flames. I'm gonna look at fireball and I'm gonna get all this. Actually, all these nodes. So get player character, get actor location, make transform, and spawn actor. I'm gonna paste those here and put the location. Connect flames, close this, go back to blue boss animation blueprint. I'm gonna call that custom event, and I'm gonna connect it right here. Next, let's go to spells and duplicate fireball. Call it flames underscore BP, and before I forget, let's go back to boss, blue boss, and put flame BP, flames underscore BP. Next, back to our spells in flames BP. Let's go to viewport and delete rotating and projectile movement and the static mesh. I'm gonna add a particle system and call it pre-fire, and I'm gonna add another one and call it fire. Here I'm gonna type P underscore fire and scroll down, set it to hidden in game. In pre-fire, I'll type in pre and take my pre-fire. Then I'm gonna go to the event graph, and after 1 second, so let's put a delay. After 1 second, I want my fire to appear. So set hidden. Just gonna move this to the side. I'm gonna copy and paste this and get pre-fire and connect it here. I'll click hidden, new hidden for this one, but not for the fire. Connect all of these together. Okay, and here in the line below, we could get rid of all this after the emitter. Now I'm gonna go into my warrior blueprint, and I'll make a new event. I'll call it Debuff 2-point burn. What I want to do with this is spawn emitter attached. Next, go in the viewport, and here's something I had done in the previous video. I got rid of it and I'll redo it. So type in capsule and call that core. So we have a capsule collision, call it core, and make sure to drag it and drop it into the mesh. Then select spine 2, put everything to 0. Okay, so this is where the fire is going to spawn if you get burned. Next, connect debuff burn to the emitter and go get core. Put it to attach to component and select snap to target, keep world scale. Then let's say I only want the player to be on fire for 4 seconds. Well, first let's destroy the component, and in between put a delay. Put it to 4. If you wanted a range between 2 or 4, you could do that too. By random float in range, and you just put minimum, I don't know, 2, 4. So you burn from 2 to 4 seconds. I'm gonna comment this debuff 2-point burn. Now let's go back to, actually first let's compile that. And then let's go back to spells in the boss folder. Go on flames _ BP, and here on component begin overlap it says core. I don't know how that became that way, but we're gonna click on sphere here, scroll down, and the second green plus. So connect other actor to get class and pass that down. From warrior BP type in burn, and let's see what that gives us. Sweet. The only thing it's missing is the flames that aren't hooking onto us. So you can see after 4 seconds this fire dies out. So I'm going to pause the video, troubleshoot it, and explain in the next segment. So I found a little mistake. It's just a small thing I forgot. Go to your warrior blueprint and just set the template to p_user fire. That's all that was missing. So if you hit play and get burned by the enemy, I'm on fire. So if I change this to p_fire, the exact same one, it might look cooler. This way, this attack will always burn the player. But if you want it to have a percentage chance, so you go into your flames under a spell folder, and right where it says here, burn, you put a branch in between, and then you can type in random integer in range, put it to 1, and if it equals to 0, put it into the condition. So he has 50% chance of getting burn debuff. So that's pretty much it for this video. So we covered 4 different types of elements on the boss. We debuff the character, his speed, we debuff him and apply a burn to him, and this is pretty much a harassing attack. We changed modes for the boss when he's low on HP, and did a projectile attack. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.